Okay, this is the last lesson in this unit, and we're going to talk about the immune system today. I need you to be on page 22 in your note packets. So what is the main job of the immune system? Main job is to fight foreign invaders, or what your body perceives to be a foreign invader. And it does this by working together with the circulatory system. Well, how does it do that? Well, white blood cells, which are found in your blood, that's why they're called white blood cells, aid in the fight against foreign invaders. And white blood cells are moved throughout the body by the circulatory system. And the last question that we need to look at is the nervous and endocrine systems send messages trying to maintain or keep homeostasis. We just learned that. So for example, remember when you eat something and your blood sugar goes too high, the endocrine system says, pancreas, pancreas, release some insulin, and the insulin lowers the blood sugar. So we want to know, how does the immune system have something to do with homeostasis? So when foreign invaders enter the body, it disrupts homeostasis. Therefore, the immune system launches an immune response. To fight them. This helps reestablish homeostasis. Okay, before we understand how all of this works, there's a couple of different types of pathogens or foreign invaders that we need to know about. So remember, our pathogens are our foreign invaders. These are the bad guys. So we have parasites. This is an organism that survives by feeding on another organism. And some examples of these that you're very familiar with are ticks, You can get a tick on you. Your pet can get a tick. Tapeworms. Parasite that can get into your body. Leeches. Suck your blood. Okay, so that's a parasite, an organism that survives by feeding on another organism. Then we have bacteria, which is a single cell organism with a distinct nucleus. Some examples of some common bacteria. Some of you may have had strep throat. This is caused by bacteria. Food poisoning. And one of those dreadful sexually transmitted diseases called syphilis. Those are all examples of bacteria. Remember, you can pause me at any time if I am going too fast for you. Fungus. Fungi are usually multicellular, but they can be single-celled. And they eat by absorbing organic material. So some examples, athlete's foot. Nice picture of that right there in the middle. Also, ringworm. All right, and the last one, virus. A virus is a this is important, non-living. This one is the only one that's non-living particle. It has an inner core of hereditary material. Surrounded by a protein coat. And we can't use antibiotics on viruses. They can only, this is really important, they can only reproduce if they're in a living cell. And some examples are the flu, common cold. These are all examples of viruses, chickenpox, and one that somebody did for their disease poster, AIDS, or was supposed to do. Okay, so those are all common pathogens. Now we're going to talk about review some important vocabulary words, and then we're going to talk about the immune response. So you've heard me say the word pathogen. You already know what that is. Okay, it's a foreign invader. Of the body that causes disease. Okay, an antigen. We learned what that was in our vocabulary word. It is found on the surface of cells that the immune system recognizes as being part of the body, meaning it belongs there, or as an invader. So every cell has antigens on it, and the body either recognizes it as being supposed to being there as part of the body or an invader. An antibody is produced by the immune system, and either attacks an invading pathogen or marks them for killing. So some antibodies will outright attack the pathogen and kill it, deactivate it, or it marks them for another type of cell to come along and get rid of it. So let's talk about the immune response when a pathogen antigen enters our body. So what happens is macrophages, spelled that, macrophages, macrophages, which are actually white blood cells, engulfs pathogens and displays antigen receptors on the surface. What happens next is something called helper T cells, recognizes the antigen receptors on the macrophage. And these helper T cells stimulate something called B cells to make antibodies. Now, you're not going to have to remember T cells and B cells. Very basically, I want you to know that when a foreign invader, which is an antigen, a pathogen that has an antigen on its surface, enters the body, our immune system either recognizes it as a good thing, it's supposed to be there, or a bad thing. If it's a bad thing, then antibodies will either kill the pathogen or it will mark it for somebody else to kill it. So an antibody will bind to an antigen and deactivate it or mark it to be killed. And then another cell will come along and kill it. Okay. Do not have to do these because this is too complex. This just goes through the 4 steps that I just told you in much more detail. So we're not doing this. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what we just did. We're not going to draw pictures. It's fine. We are going to go to this next page that has the immune system. And we're going to review a couple of different things. Notice you have pages 26 and 27 in between. Okay? That is due later this week. It's posted on Schoology. Please make sure that you do that. Okay, what are allergies? Well, allergies are allergic responses that the immune system makes against non-pathogens. So, allergic responses that our immune system launches against non-pathogens. So as I said, peanuts aren't necessarily a bad thing, but for some of us, our body perceives that antigen on the peanut, okay, to be threatening to our body and tells our immune system to launch an attack against it, even though it's really not a pathogen, so non-pathogen. Autoimmune disorders. Auto means self, right? So it's when our immune system attacks our body. And some examples of this are celiac disease, and multiple sclerosis. So celiac disease is affecting a lot of people these days. It's when foods that contain gluten, your body perceives the gluten to be a pathogen and launches an immune response against it, and you can get really, really sick from it. Multiple sclerosis is a different kind of disorder in which the body launches an immune response against your central nervous system, and it can affect your nerves and your spinal cord. Okay, and lastly we have vaccines. Vaccines are a dead or weakened version of a virus that we are injected with which the immune system uses to prepare for the real battle. So let me explain that a little bit, because this usually appears on the Regents. So example is chickenpox vaccine. When you go to college, you're going to have to get a meningitis vaccine. So what happens is they take a dead or weakened version of chickenpox, the actual virus, and they inject it into your body. And your immune system goes, invader, 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 and launches an immune response. Makes antibodies to kill that little bit of virus that you were just injected with. But what it really does, it serves as a memory. So this way, say you are subjected to someone that has chickenpox. When your body even gets a whiff of it, you won't get it because it perceives it and it just mass produces antibodies. So then you usually do not get the disease. Okay. That is it for today. Have a great day.